if you're like me, the 5th generation of gaming is iconic. I was born in the 90s, and my first taste of video games came at the PS1 and the N64. So I have a real soft spot for this era of gaming. But I'm also not blind to the fact that as a result of it being really the first era to truly embrace 3D gaming, where true 3D games were viable, it's got its flaws. Some games don't control well, some games don't look good, some games just flat don't play good. But this article started making its way around Reddit from DualShockers.com. They did N64 games that aged the best. I think they did about 8 games or so. And that started making its ways around Reddit and such. So I thought, I love the N64. What if I do 5 N64 games that aged well? And I'm going to try to not take a lot from their list. That way you can go and read their list and you can get about 8 more games. So the way that I approached this was, if somebody younger than me came to me and said, look, I'm used to playing new video games, but I want to go back and play the N64. Well, there's plenty of N64 games that I love that are rough around the edges for reasons I've already said. So what are 5 N64 games that I could give to a modern day audience and they take to it so well? There's no barriers because this person wasn't born in the 90s, because they didn't grow up or were exposed to this kind of gaming. So that's how I arrived at this list. Trying not to take any or as many from the list provided in the link to DualShockers. And what 5 games would I recommend to somebody who wants to play N64 without all of what we'll call the quirks that come along with it. So in no particular order, because I think all 5 of these games are amazing, it's worth noting that I'm not saying these are my 5 favorite games, or these are the 5 best games, or these are 5 hidden gems. No, I'm just saying these are 5 games that I recommend, okay? Alright, we're going to start with Mario Party 2. The reason I feel so confident about Mario Party 2 is because not only is it my favorite Mario Party game, I played it with my 2 younger brothers who are 10 and 12, and they loved it. Asked me every night if we could play it. We beat all the boards. We're unlocking all the mini games. It's just so good. It has my favorite mini games of all time are all found in Mario Party 2. The boards are all so good. I love all the costumes. I love all the items. And if we're talking about the N64, you need a party game. Like, that's one of the elements that makes the N64 my favorite console of that era. The native 4-player control slots. This thing was a party machine, and I know a lot of people are going to recommend Goldeneye, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, and guess what? Those are all great games. I also would recommend any of those games to you, but if I'm firing up the N64 and I'm trying to play 4 players, I'm playing Mario Party 2. It absolutely gets my vote. I think it is aged so well. The mini games are a blast. The boards are all great. Trust me, if you're getting into N64 collecting and you want the cream of the crop, get Mario Party 2 and thank me later. Next up is the Pokemon Stadium games, which I'm going to be honest with you, these may be some of my favorite Pokemon games in general, let alone spin-off, mainstream, whatever you want to call, or main series. The Pokemon Stadium games are phenomenal, and I think they aged super well, and we can juxtapose what makes Pokemon Stadium work with the flop of the console, Hey You Pikachu. Hey You Pikachu was maybe more ambitious than Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. Maybe there's a debate, I'm not sure. But it was 3D. It had an accessory with the microphone. And it just didn't work. people crap on Hey You Pikachu. Now, when you look at Pokemon Stadium, it kept it at its core. It's a battle simulator. The battles are in 3D, but it doesn't ever get like a wonky camera or bad controls because it's a turn-based combat system, right? And I think that's what makes it great. And even its other modes don't really stray too far from that. Like trivia and mini games are not burdened by the limitations of the N64. I think Pokemon Stadium is another great party game. It can be played and enjoyed in solo. There's battle modes, take on the gym leaders. Again, you can do the mini games. Pretty sure you can do one. Yeah, you can do one player and then have 3 computers. But I think it's the fact that they really just leaned on what made Pokemon so good, and I think that's what worked. It had an amazing presentation, and the announcer is iconic. The mini games and trivia are great. And, you know, going back to Hey You Pikachu, I really wanted Pokemon Red and Blue, but in 3D. I'll be the first to say that, man, they really dropped the ball. Like, we had a home console capable of 3D, and they didn't give it to us. Something like Earthbound meets Pokemon Colosseum. That's what I wanted at the time. And they didn't give it to us. And in a way, I look back on the N64, like, that's a missed opportunity. But when I see the way that Pokemon Stadium is still revered and the way that Hey You Pikachu is kind of dunked on, I think the Pokemon Stadium series was just Pokemon at its best. It's just hard to get past that. And again, Pokemon Colosseum would go on to give us that 3D Pokemon experience that I had been desperately craving. But if we're talking about in the confines of the N64 library, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 do Pokemon so well. And if you're a Pokemon fan, like if you've gotten into it with like Black and White or the Switch games or whatever, you owe it to yourself to go back and play Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. They're absolutely highlights of the Pokemon series. Next is Paper Mario. This game is fantastic, and everything about it is a little, I would say, controversial looking back. You know, we had left Mario RPG behind. We were past the year 2000. I mean, the GameCube's getting ready to come out, and here we are releasing cartoony graphics. You know, the combat is like this flat turn-based system, but in a way, those things, again, I think are what allow it to age so seamlessly. You're not bogged down by bad controls. Combat is not impossible due to camera angles. And because they opted for a storybook aesthetic over realistic graphics, looking back at it, Paper Mario is one of the better looking games on the console. It didn't go for hyper realism of the time. And again, I think coming out so late in the console, it's so weird that we're at the tail end of the console and we're getting this cartoonish storybook looking game. But I just think it has made it so timeless. And this game is still fun to go back to. There's a reason Paper Mario is so beloved amongst fans, and yet people have hated like the last, 3-4 releases. They hold Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door in such high regards, and then there's people like me that think the Wii is worthy of like a trilogy almost, and then some people say no, it's just Mario 64 and Thousand Year Door. Those are the pinnacle of Paper Mario. But think about how long the series has been running, how much people hate on all the new games, yet Paper Mario lives on as one of the most well-received franchises off the backs of how good Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door are. So I would make the argument that Paper Mario is easily the best RPG on the console. N64 is notorious for not having a lot of traditional RPGs. I mean, that's just a fact, right? And if you're someone who is into new RPGs, whether that's like Elden Ring or Persona or whatever, and you're getting into the N64 and you want an RPG, my go-to is always going to be Paper Mario. It is just such a good starting point, whether you're a kid trying to get into RPGs or you're just trying to get into RPGs that are on the N64. Paper Mario is going to do wonders for you. It has aged so well because they kept a lot of things simple. The items are simple, the power-ups are cool, the graphics are simple. It just comes together to be a very, very beautiful game. It's well written, and at the end of the day, it's fun. It's really fun. So, which for me, being a non-RPG guy, I don't always find RPGs to be very fun. So yeah, Paper Mario is gonna get 3 thumbs up every day in my book. Great game. Next, I gotta show some love to Kirby 64. In a world that is pivoting towards massive open 3D worlds, realistic graphics, and the new control schemes that come with these worlds, Kirby said no. Kirby played it simple, choosing to rely on great level design, a power fusing mechanic for unlimited creativity and problem solving, and again, like I was saying with the other games, prioritizing being fun over all the new aged gaming aspects, right? Kirby 64 has aged to perfection, and it's still my second favorite Kirby game behind Forgotten Lands, for all the reasons I just said. It's so quick and easy to jump into. You start having fun immediately. There's so many puzzles, awesome enemies, unique powers, things that you missed on your first playthrough that really give this game a lot of replayability. Like, I guarantee you're gonna miss out something. Unless, maybe if you have a guide going, you're gonna miss something. Because the game will require you to get a power up early in the level and keep it till you get to a later point in the level where you can then fuse it with another power. And I think that plays to its strengths again, adding replayability, adding depth. You really don't know, should I hold on to this power up or should I chunk it? And you're just naturally curious. Oh, what does the spike power up do? What does the fire power up do? What happens when I blend fire and electricity, or earth and the spike? You know, there's so many power-ups, and I'm not calling any of them by their canonical names, but you'll have to forgive me. There's a lot of power-ups in this game, and it's just so fun to grab a power-up in one level, go to another level, and merge that power to see, okay, what does this do? And Kirby gets some crazy power-ups in this one. The fire power is kind of broken because you can just spam it. I'm pretty sure that's how speedrunners do it. You gotta let me know if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure they just get the fire power up and just boo, boo, boo. Kirby turns into like a missile just shooting across the map. This game put Kirby on the map for me. This was my first exposure to Kirby, and I think it's great. As we all know, Kirby has kind of lived in the 2D space, but man, Kirby does it so darn well. Any chance to play a Kirby game is a good opportunity. I've yet to play a bad Kirby game. Kirby 64, it's easy to overlook it. Yes, Kirby is a big name in Nintendo's library. I mean, Kirby gets a new game every year, I think. But again, like I said, you got Mario 64 doing its thing. You got Zelda doing its thing. Even Donkey Kong got a 3D game at this time. And here's Kirby sticking with 2D roots. And you know, I used to not resent it, not hold it against Kirby, but my brain was always like, what would a 3D Kirby game look like? Sure, many of you probably know that they were working on Kirby Air Ride and it got scrapped and moved to the GameCube, but I still think they churned out a beautiful product. This was just Kirby getting to be in his element and doing it to perfection. For all those reasons, I can't recommend Kirby 64 enough. Rounding out my list, to no one's surprise, is going to be Ocarina of Time. This game is a masterpiece. It didn't just age well, it was a masterpiece when it came out, and it's still just as good today. Nintendo created something truly special here. It lived up to the hype and still continues to live up to the hype. So compare it to the other major players of the time, like Mario 64. Super Mario 64 is amazing, still fun to play. It was one of the most revolutionary video games ever. But it definitely shows its age in some spots. The level design's a little wonky, yes, iconic, but still wonky. The camera and controls can be frustrating, but ultimately, when it came out, and even to this day, Mario 64 is considered one of the greatest games of all time. And graphically, I think it is superior to Final Fantasy VII, the other really iconic, top-of-the-line game from this era. And don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy VII still holds up from a narrative and gameplay perspective, but I think Ocarina of Time looks far superior, graphically speaking. And I think that's why I'm gushing about it here. When you look at the rest of my list, it's games that didn't take a lot of chances. Kirby stayed in the 2D. Paper Mario went with a more cartoonish look than hyper-realistic. But that wasn't Ocarina of Time's style. They were bold. They took chances. They pushed boundaries. They invented the Z target lock-on to help combat in the 3D space. The camera is just as smooth as the movements. The story is large and grand, just like the open world. The dungeons, the songs, and items are all iconic. In fact, I'm not really sure what complaints a gamer could even have about Ocarina of Time. It was following up Nintendo's majorly successful other N64 title in Super Mario 64, and it even followed up a Zelda juggernaut, being the Zelda game after A Link to the Past. It had such large shoes to fill, such tall acts to follow, and it became a masterclass in video games all unto itself. I thought about doing a full video on why I think Ocarina of Time is the greatest game of all time. However, even I'll admit that coverage over Ocarina of Time feels a little overplayed, saturated. But if you guys want to see my full breakdown of Ocarina of Time, let me know. I could probably do a video over it. But needless to say, if you get an N64, the first video game you should buy is Ocarina of Time. So that's 5 games I think you should get if you weren't exposed to the N64, if the controller seems weird, if the graphics seem a little old, if the gameplay comes across as rough. These 5 games have aged super well. I think you would be right at home playing these games, even if it's the first time you've ever touched the N64. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my take on this topic, my little spin on it of games I recommend to people who've never played the N64 before. And like I said, be sure to check out the article linked in the description for even more games that they think have aged really well. So I love the N64. I want more people to play it. I don't care if it's through emulation, through the Switch Online service, or whether it's through physical collecting. More people should play it. It's a great console. If you'd like to see me do more N64 videos, please just let me know. If you want to get my opinion on other consoles whose games have aged well, like the PS1 or the PS2 or what have you, then leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to talk about other consoles. You know, the channel kind of does retro video games and Switch 2 content. So just let me know what videos you guys want to see. You want to see more retro stuff? Then just be sure to give this video a thumbs up so I know you liked it. Leave a comment. And again, this channel's here for you guys. Let me know what content you want to see. Peace out, everybody. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.